How's it going? I'm Ryan. Today I'm going to go over the two trades I took today. First trade was a loss. The second trade was just a re-entry on my first trade. So same idea on both trades, but technically two separate ones as I was stopped out and then re-entered for a win. Had the right idea. We'll go over it. My entry. I had the right idea. Had an absolutely beautiful entry. Just moved stop a little bit too soon and got stopped out before the move down to where I was planning on taking profit happened. So execution could be a little better. I think I was a little hesitant because I already had a loss on the same trade to let the trade play out, and instead I allowed that concern over taking another loss potentially prevent me from capturing the full move. So could have been a big day. It's a really small day, really pretty non-consequential, but it is what it is. It's a green day. We're up. The account's still growing. So this week's been a little slower. Yes, last week was really volatile. This week I'm sizing back up, but just haven't quite had the results that I maybe wanted to. But as long as we're green, and we're green on the week, so can't ask for much more. Let's take a look at what I was watching and coming into the day. So had a few zones. I'm gonna pull up the 1 hour chart here. We're downtrending in the past couple days, right? We had these lows in here, or excuse me, back here. We made that big rally to the upside, and then since then we've kind of been trending down. Haven't broken these lows here, but we're getting a little close to it with yesterday's low day. So coming into the day, what I was watching is pretty much the past like 4 days or so, the past week, we have been making lower lows and lower highs. And that was no different coming into today. We had just formed this high, and coming into the day, we were coming lower. So I had two zones that I was watching primarily. I was watching if we could break above, well, first it would have been a break and a hold above 18,500, but I was watching to see if we could break above this zone up here, that pre-market high for upside potential. And then really a break and retest of this zone, which is the trade that I took. And then a break and retest of this zone, which did happen, but I was off the computer at this point. Otherwise, that would have been a nice trade there. So to the downside, I was looking for a break and retest to here, or a break and retest to here. To the upside, I was looking for a break and retest of here up to here, or a break above this zone and continuation to the upside. And the reason being is that those are key zones, but also on a higher time frame, you can see that we had some support here, a break and retest, same thing, some support here, the break and retest. Or if we could get above these highs and make new highs, that would be a long scenario. Just kind of simple game plan. So straight off the bat, we rejected the VWAP and had a pretty big drop off that first 5-minute candle. I'll zoom in so we can see this a little bit better. And my first trade, we came down, we held this zone down here, and then we made our move higher. I was looking at a short here because this is another potential lower high. Especially like on the 5-minute, you can see on a higher time frame. On that 1 hour, we're trending down. On the 5-minute, you can see that we're forming lower lows, lower highs. So I was watching for a lower high here. I entered this probably a little too early. What happened is we came up and we rejected off the VWAP and we started to pull back. So I entered as we were pulling back. Then price kind of spiked up and stopped me out. My stop was just above VWAP because we had already rejected off of it once, and I figured that we might get that lower high and that pull back down to lows. So stop was at just above VWAP, right around like 18,500. I think I put it right there at that whole number. I did. And my take profit was down at 18, like 20 or so. So I was looking for about 50 points of profit for about 30 points of risk. A little less than 30 points, 28 points. So just about a 2-to-1. That's typically what I trade, is about a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. We did get stopped out, but we closed lower. And then we started to retest the VWAP again and started to pull back, and we were looking weak. If I pull up the 1-minute chart, we can see that we were weak on the 1-minute chart as well. So let me pull that up. And is it, nope, it's back a little bit more. Here it is. So this was the first trade I took. We came up, we rejected that VWAP and we started to pull back, and that's why I entered right here. And then we pushed up and stopped me out. But then you can see on the 1 minute, we see volume looking pretty good on these rejections, right? Long upper wicks, failing to close higher, looking pretty weak. We can't break above the top of this zone. We have the VWAP there, so we have both an area that we'd expect to act as resistance as well as the VWAP indicator, price rejecting off that, and then we have price action also. So all these things kind of painting this picture of a potential lower high here or a pullback. So at this point, I felt safe to re-enter, right? So I entered in here, got stopped out on this spike up. Then as we pulled back, I re-entered. Entered, put my stop above that swing high, and my take profit was once again down at like 1820, or excuse me, 420, 18420. And the reason being is we had kind of a high volume node there, as well as you can see that as price got down there before, we started to kind of hold in this area before making our way higher. So I would normally put it all the way down to this zone about 18,400, but I was giving myself a little bit of leeway in case that, you know, we didn't make that move down. So we got this move down initially, and then we started to hold around like 1840 or 18,440. And then on this push up, I had brought my stop loss to break even. And then on this push up, I just exited because I was watching my profit and loss. And that's the truth of it, is that I had already taken a loss on the day. I didn't want to have a losing day realistically. And I was up, and I knew that if I just took my trade where it was, rather than letting myself get stopped out, that it would be a green day for me, or at least, you know, it would make up for my prior loss. So you can see here I exited for about 26 points, nothing crazy, and made up for my initial loss. But had I not moved my stop at all, had I just stuck to the plan, you see what happened. We rejected, came up and retested this zone again, and then pulled all the way back down into this zone. So price action is moving really well from my zones, right? We can see how well we respect this zone back down to this one. And I think I just need to trust myself more. And had I been a little bit more patient and waited to enter this trade until this 5 minute closed, that would have helped as well. Because had I waited for that 5 minute to close, then I could have entered essentially this trade that I took, my second trade. And maybe I would have been less, you know, less likely to move my stop into profit before we got the move that I was looking for. So it is what it is. It's a green day. But definitely left a lot of money on the table. Had I just stuck to my original stop loss, my original take profit, everything would have worked out all right. And I would have had, and I entered around like 470 down to 420. Would have had a pretty profitable day overall, you know. And even, yeah, just probably moved my stop a little too soon. So I was protecting the downside, and that's not a terrible thing, but in doing so, I missed the move that I got. And you can see the price reaction, right? We came up, we formed this lower high, we rejected off that VWAP, and then we dropped well over 100 points, 200 points. We dropped over 200 points from my entry. My entry was like 480. We dropped all the way down to, you know, 260 or so. So 220 point move off that, and I was in right near that swing high. That entry was absolutely beautiful. So kind of kicking myself, right? It was right place, right time, right idea, and just a little bit of a sloppy execution and not allowing myself to capture more of that move. So the potential to have a really profitable day today. We're up 86, about $87. It is what it is. I can't be mad, right? I just have to learn to be a little better. I can see that I'm getting close. We're getting close, but we're not all the way there. But the fact is that the account is still growing. We're doing all right. I can take some confidence from the fact that this trade was super solid. I mean, had I not just gotten stopped out early and I rode this down, like, that's as beautiful of a entry that I could have taken. We have the indicator, the VWAP, we have a zone that we act, and we got price action. Everything's kind of aligning. The entry was damn near sniper. So we had pretty minimal risk on that, about like a little over 20 points of risk for, you know, a move that went over 200 points. Not that I was aiming for that, but the potential was there. So can't be mad. Just have to learn from it and try to do better next time. But that's where we're at. And after this, I didn't take another trade. Actually, I got off right in here, right around 10:30, and the only other trade I was looking for was a pullback and rejection off the bottom of this zone, which we did get right here. So that was actually a pretty nice trade. If you got in around that zone, around 350, and it pulled back down to like 300, you could have caught 30, 40, 50 points on that, no problem. So we didn't take out that low. We actually started to climb from there. So if you were looking for continuation in the sweep of this low, you wouldn't have gotten it. But a 50-point move is more than enough for me. So could have looked for at least a little scalp off that. But yeah, just happy with how these zones are playing out. You see how price action is reacting to these. And I think that I have found something that works for me, makes sense for me. I just need to execute a little bit better, and we're there, So that's all I got. Thank you for watching. I do stream live Monday through Friday. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here hopefully every weekday, streaming live, trying to trade, trying to get these payouts. We are halfway, actually exactly halfway to our first potential payout on these accounts. I need to get to $2,600 in profit. We're at $1,304. So exactly halfway to first potential payout. So yep, just got to have a little bit better discipline, a little bit better execution, and there's a lot of potential here. So that's all I got. I hope you have a great day. Peace.